Now we will discuss parsing strategies. There are two types of parsing strategies. One is late closure strategy and the other is minimal attachment strategy. We will discuss these strategies with the help of their respective examples. Late closure strategy states wherever possible, we prefer to attach new items to current constituents. So new items, new incoming lexical information is attached to the information that is being currently processed. Late closure strategy is also known as recency. Recency is basically a state of being recent. So new information is associated to the current information that is being processed as per the late closure strategy. In minimal attachment strategy, it states that we prefer attaching new items into the phrase markers being constructed using the fewest syntactic nodes consistent with the rules of the language. Basically, it builds the simplest syntactic structure consistent with the structure that has already been built. Now, let's discuss some of the examples of late closure strategy and minimal attachment strategies. Now, this example which says Tom said that Bill had taken the cleaning out yesterday is an example of late closure strategy. Now, according to Fraser, and Ford, they have basically proposed this number of examples. They say that as per this late closure strategy, we prefer to attach new items to the current constituent. Now, a primary motivation of this strategy is that it reduces the burden on working memory. It reduces burden on working memory. Tom said that Bill had taken the cleaning out yesterday. Here the adverb yesterday may be attached to the main clause, which is Tom said, or the subsequent subordinate clause, which is Bill had taken. Now, Fraser and Fodor argue that we tend to prefer the later interpretation. In other example, in the sixth point is, here you would see the prepositional phrase in the library could modify either the verb put or the verb reading. Now we tend to prefer attaching the prepositional phrase to the later verb. Now again, we see that Chase put the book Kathy was reading in the library. Further, this evidence for the late closure comes from another researchers, Rayner, in addition to Fraser, that they not only looked at this sentence from the propositional point of view, but also examined eye fixations. Eye fixation phenomena of subjects reading structurally ambiguous sentence such as this one. Since Jay always jogs, a mile seems like a very short distance. Now, looking at this, the ambiguity in this sentence is a little artificial because it lacks commas after jogs. Still, the participants' eye fixation is very interesting. Now, in the study, which was conducted by Fraser and Rayner, they found that fixation time on the last few words were longer than on the earlier ones, implying that reader had misinterpreted the term a mile and had to make some later adjustment. Now, coming to the example of minimal attachment, you have a sentence which say Ernie kissed Marcy and her sister. Now here we are talking about minimal attachment strategy, which basically refer to minimal attachments that we prefer attaching new item into the phrase marker being constructed using the fewest syntactic nodes. So considering this, it could be interpreted as either a noun phrase, that is both Marcy and Ernie were recipient of a kiss, or as the beginning of a new phrase. So according to minimal attachment, we prefer the former interpretation, which is the noun phrase. Then looking at the city council argued the mayor's position forcefully. Sentence 9 is consistent with minimal attachment in that the adverb forcefully is attached to the current constituent, that is verb phrase. Now in contrast, sentence 10 is complement construction that requires building a new constituent. Hence, these strategies indicate that we prefer to attach incoming words to the most recent constituents as opposed to attaching them to earlier constituents or developing new ones. Although the strategies are generally useful, they sometimes lead to errors and subsequent reanalysis of syntactic structures.